So the next day, oh my, it was even hotter. And the slaves were dropping like flies. So hot. There was one young man, he fainted from the heat. And there was old Toby there, saying those magic words, Tom, Kali, Tombe. And with those words, the young man got up, he rolled over, and he began to ride the hot breezes in the air. He rolled a bit, and then he flew away. And another began to faint from the heat. But there was old Toby, saying those magic words. And as he said them, one by one, they began to rise up and fly. They were like shiny black sticks against the heavenly blue sky, hundreds of them. Well, the master had just had about enough from old Toby. And he said, seize him. Seize that old man. I heard him say those magic words. Well, they went after old Toby. The master was running towards him. He was going to get old Toby that day. And the driver had his whip. He was going to tie him up. And as they approached old Toby, he just stood there. And he started to laugh. And he said, don't you know who we are? Don't you recognize any of us in this field? We are the ones who fly. Come, Kali, Tombe. And with those ancient magical words, those slaves whose backs were still bent in the fields, they straightened up just like that. And those who could fly, they began to stretch their hands out to each other. They formed a ring. It looked as though they were going to ring sing, but they just joined hands. They didn't sing, they didn't shuffle. Instead, their feet began to rise off the ground. Instead, they rose high above the plantation fields. Instead, they rose high above the trees and the fences. Instead, they rose high above slavery land. And say, they flew to freedom. Now, the overseer, about the events of that day, everybody he ran into, he told them what he had seen. The master, he said it was a lie. That didn't happen. It was a trick of light. The driver kept his mouth shut. But in the ensuing years, those who witnessed what had happened that day would sit around the fire at night, and they would tell that story about those people who could fly. And as their young ones became adults, they too sat around and told their children about the people who could fly. And now, me, I have told you about the people who could fly.